But schools are producing graduates, the market isn't hiring. And every number proves it. But they're not changing. I want that paycheck. I don't want to leave. So, again, the numbers. 30% of 2025 grads found full-time work in fields. It's a 5-year low. 30%. 48% feel unprepared to apply for entry-level jobs, especially when entry-level is going away. 56% is your premium if you have AI skills right now in the workplace. You're going to make 56% more than somebody that doesn't have those skills. 66% somewhere in here, degree requirements are dropping. And 30% more productive, skills-based. That's what they want over degree-based. And here is what I hesitate to say the future looks like, because this is already happening. Marketing analysts, entry level, required, demonstrate AI workflow portfolio. Must show documented, repeatable AI processes. Notice I'm not saying prompt engineering, we'll talk about that. Degree preferred, but not required, if portfolio demonstrates level 4 proficiency. Now let's talk about why this is important too. Because I have a passion. I was the kid in school that got left behind. I didn't fit in to the system. How many kids do you know that are getting left behind right now? They don't fit into the system. When we did the AI Protege program, we did wealthy suburban kids. We did inner city kids that have challenges. Do you know what the difference was between the two groups? Anybody want to guess? 3 days. Explain that. So the suburban kids have access. iPads, MacBooks, you name it, right? They use it. The inner city kids, most of them have a phone, but that's about it. They don't have people really showing them how to use anything, how to use AI, how to use the tools, right? They're using it just for fun, for social, for whatever. But once we showed them, this is what we did. What are you passionate about? Do that. What? Yeah, I want you to use AI in art. Once we open, you can do whatever you want. I had so many kids come up to Chris and I and said, nobody's ever told us that. We can do whatever we want. Pursue a passion that we care about. And they did. So they wrote poetry, rap songs, wrote a book, all those different kind of things. We didn't care what they did. We wanted them to get creative, have fun, and learn. 3 days was the difference. So now, I don't care where you live. I don't care your education level. I don't care skin color, religion, how you identify. AI doesn't see any of that. You now have full access, the same access that everybody else has. As long as you can start applying it, it doesn't matter how poor you are. It doesn't matter if you can't get into university. You're going to be able to have these tools and be able to catch up with everybody else that does have that access and privilege. But we need to do it as a collective community to show these kids that they have the power of this in their back pockets. Okay, so we are at a moment of reckoning. I think the numbers prove that, right? Anything that you see that's positive about any of that? We have fewer students even graduating. We're at the lowest level. The kids are dropping out. I think that's a mind-blowing. We have skills that are changing so quickly. We worked a bit with the state, workforce ready. Workforce ready. And I go on and look at the programs, and I'm like, what was it, 1984? What workforce are you ready in? And I don't mean to slam, it's just moving so quickly, right? I don't want to burn any bridges, I never take a video. Because I want to work with these people, right? But the truth is, the old shelf life, 10 years, I could teach you. You had 10 years to be able to work in this field and do this. But now it's under 5, and in tech it's under 2.5, and I would argue it's about a year. right now in tech. And tech numbers are showing that. Institutional closures are happening, 16 in 2025. Could be 80 this year. And that could be universities, boot camps, any type of educational institute. They're shutting down. So, I want you to burn this in your brain. Because this will change the way you approach everything. Everyone in this room, mostly, there's some that are still fairly safe. I'm talking about health, chiropractic, nursing. But they're still going to be impacted. But the rest of you, you've already been replaced. You just don't know it. You just don't know it. So my goal for you today, if you haven't had it already, that moment I had in 2022, I want you to have it now. That's what I want for you. So, I do this a lot, and I get a lot of feedback. And the number one thing, really, that I typically get, raise your hand if you fall in this camp, I'm frustrated. I'm overwhelmed. I don't even know where to start. Your chat GPT and this, and Claude and that, and Jim and what is all this stuff, right? I'm just running Copilot on my, just drafted email. Okay. Well, what I want you to do, and my goal for today, I've been working so hard on this. I hope it works, because you're my beta group to try this out. But I'm trying to create a roadmap for this. And it's not a tech roadmap. It's not a platform roadmap. It's a skills-based roadmap. So that way, no matter what skills you learn, you can apply them no matter the platform. It doesn't matter what platform. And I'll explain. So the first three levels. You have the prompt engineer. Now, 2 years ago, we told the whole world everybody's going to be prompt engineers. That's a job of the future. Boy, were we naive. Okay? Because prompt engineer is level 1. Level 1. Now, this can get a little bit sophisticated, even at level 1, but you're going to see how it builds as we go. But to me, a prompt engineer, and I've had people tell me they're prompt engineers, but I kind of tested them. Trust me, they're not prompt engineers. But they're using AI a bit like Google, or a bit like I used it in 2022. I'm going to give it some basic prompts. It's going to give me some basic output, and I feel pretty good about it. At least I have something to work for. 2022, I was happy. And I had, as a creative, the thing that scares me the most in life is a blank sheet of paper. Writer's block, creative block, if anybody's a painter or anything like that, right? That first, sometimes just, I don't know where to start. But with AI, you never have a blank sheet of paper. I can just throw a few basic ideas out, help me work through this, or I got nothing. Well, but this is how I'm feeling right now. Oh, well, you could paint this, or you could create that, or you could write a song. Like, it can just help you overcome those things. So the prompt engineer. Then you have the planner. This is where you get that first bit of feedback. Because you'll hear me say this a lot, garbage in, garbage out. You put garbage in, garbage is coming out. AI only makes you more of who you already are. If you're lazy, if you want to make money and you sleep, then no work, not doing anything. You might do it for a while, but long term, it's not scalable, it's not going to fit. We need to do work. We need to be productive. If you are inquisitive, curious, exploration, it's going to make you more of that. It's going to expand all of that, right? If you're lazy, it's going to make you lazy. So the planner starts pushing back. Yeah, I don't like that. That doesn't sound like me. You go on LinkedIn and everybody sounds exactly the same now. Hopefully except for me. Right? But most people sound exactly the same now. They're copy and pasting whatever gets thrown at them, and they're lazy. They're just pushing things out. Or they don't know better. Right? Nobody's taught them yet how to use it properly. So I don't want to rip on everybody. So you understand that this is just your starting point, and now you're going to start planning, questioning, and pushing things. Then you go to level 3, the context engineer. Probably too advanced for today, but there's something called a context window that I want you to be aware of. So as you're going through a chat, and Claude, one of them just announced a 50 million character context level. Well, I don't care if you give me a billion. The context starts doing what's called context drop at about 130,000 characters. So if you've ever been like, oh, this is great, I got so much going on. And then all of a sudden it's like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you on? Like, I cuss sometimes. What the F are you doing? You're not even on the same planet as me anymore, right? It fell out of that context. So it's hard to do online because I can't follow that window much in their system. But as you start building agentic AI called code, there's a thing on the bottom that tells you where you're at in your context window. But a good habit, if you've used it 10 or 15 minutes, save everything, copy and paste that. You know what TLDR means? Too long didn't read. Save the bullet point of that, put it in a new window, and cancel that one. Now you're a context engineer, because you're going to start carrying that forward. If you're not using things like projects yet, this is where you start using projects. Now I take all that, I open a project, I start uploading that, and a project is basically you start training. You give it instructions, you can keep data, PDFs, PowerPoints, all those things in. Now I can call back and pull that as you're building. The context engineer. And this is where most people sit today. And that's where most people are training. Now there's 6 levels, and I'm going to admit to you today, I'm level 5. I'm not even level 6 yet. So, sound familiar? Anybody, sometimes I don't know what to ask? Anybody fall there? I'm leaving value on the table, not getting out what I want, or the quality drops off. Well, now you understand the context, at least very basic. Now, level 4, now important, the architectural strategies. Now is when you're really starting to put not the data that you get from the LLM itself, but your own data into it. So the way that I train my AI to write like me is my podcasts, I transcribe them, upload them into the system, study how I speak, study how I write, the words that I use, and starts learning. It's my data. Then I'll say I'm speaking at an event. It's for education. Create avatars of my target demographic that I'm speaking to.
Nice.
It'll create that. Then I'll say, create an emotional intelligence assessment, and I'll call this person Sam, on Sam. Then it'll say, here's their behaviors, here's how you need to speak to them. I can meet you where you're at. Because is the room creative? Are you engineers? What are you? I'm going to speak different to an engineer who understands Python than I am grandma who just wants to use AI for some recipes, right? So I can pull all that data, and then I can start crafting newsletters, content, speeches, videos based on that persona. It's game changing. When I do podcast interviews, 7 times out of 10, they'll say, oh my God, never had somebody so prepared. And you ask me questions nobody else did. You're brilliant. No, I'm not brilliant. Barnabas, who I call my AI, is brilliant. Because it's giving me all this information. The only thing that makes me smart is I'm not those Swiss engineers. I'm using the technology. I'm smart enough to use the technology. So, now, This is for another day, because you probably shouldn't be putting student data in your public chat GPT and all that. But there are ways where you can do this safely. But please don't, especially at the university or high school level. You want to be careful. But you could input your standards, your policies, whatever those are, and make sure that when you're using it, that you're abiding by those corporate policies, right? The rules of the classroom. For me, I have banned words. Theory, unlock, unleash, game changer. Things that when you start going on LinkedIn, you'll notice everybody, it's every post, not in mine. You train it. Then you'll see the post with like 936 emojis on it. And then you look at the person, they're like 62 years old. Dude, you've never put an emoji out in your life. What are you doing? It doesn't fit. And you're speaking to other CEOs. It doesn't make sense. You need to speak to your audience. Now, if you're 18, I might want to use emojis, right? And I might not use them right, but I'm going to at least defer and try to speak to that person and meet them where they're at. So this is where you start becoming the architectural strategy. And then 5 and 6. This is where the power of design thinking comes in. Design thinking. I'm terrible at design thinking, but I'm getting better. I'm working super hard at it. Because as a creative, I live in chaos. I work in chaos. That's how I create. But you can't build a business on chaos. You can't run a classroom on chaos, right? Your students, your employees, your team, they want stability. They want a process. Design thinking helps you get there. So, this is where you build systems that run, and basically run the same time every time. So, prime example. I do a newsletter every day. I typically try to do a video every day. The video is still time consuming. But I have an AI agent that goes out and gets my top news stories of the day. All before 7 in the morning.
Whoop, whoop.
Then it scores those stories based on the target demographic of my newsletter audience. Then it'll score them. Then it'll pick the highest score, or maybe the top 2 scores if they blend the story together. Then it writes me 3 hooks, writes my entire newsletter, formatted the way that I want it formatted, the one hopefully many of you see every day. And that's done. Then it moves it over into a YouTube package, because I use that newsletter basically as a rough script. But I don't read it, because I want to make sure it's authentic and it's human when I share the story. But I shoot that video based off the newsletter. But it gives me a YouTube package. Optimized title, description, tags, and an idea to make my thumbnail. Then it gives me a LinkedIn post with the 3 possible best hashtags. Then it gives me a podcast package, all before 7 o'clock. And this used to take me 4 to 6 hours. And all of it's right there. So I wake up, boom, 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 publish. 8 o'clock, I'm off to the next. Now I can work with a paying client. And part of the training and sources, because again, I'm not copy and pasting this. I'm still reading it, making my own edits, and at the end I always do a one more thing. Kind of shout out to Steve Jobs. And that's me, that's my voice. So now it's an opinion kind of piece. So I put that in there. But it puts all my links, my name, all that in there. And sources. So now as I'm reading it, I can click each source, because AI does hallucinate. Anybody experience that?
Yeah.
Lie to you, just like a cheap man. Will lie to you straight face. So you want to go through this and make sure that everything is accurate. But I put so many tests in place, I very seldom now get hallucinations within this system. Voice check. It goes through this whole process of rules to make sure that it's speaking in my voice. I know it's hard to see, I can't get it up there. Things it needs to pass, and then red flags that it needs to go through and make sure I'm getting it. And then all my packages. So it does all that. Now, back to design thinking. I had a client 3 months ago ask me to build a website project. Now they're asking me, how do you do this? I don't know. I used to do it, and here it is, paid. Again, creative, right? I've never really put my process well-defined on paper, because I'm not a design thinker. So I use something called Whisper. Anybody know what that is?
Yeah, buddy.
It's amazing.
Whoop, whoop.
I highly recommend it. But I'll get on Barnabas, and I'll just throw up in the Whisper, here's how I do it. Then Barnabas come back and said, well, you have a process. You just don't know you have a process. You've never defined that process. So, and only people that got to the end of my newsletter got this bonus. There's the entire process in files and folders. If you can see that. Like, it's a lot. I didn't even realize I did that much. So, what I can do now is take that file structure, put it in Barnabas in a project, create skills, which hopefully we'll talk about in a minute, and then have it walk me through the whole process step by step. Now when I'm working with a client, week 1, here's my weekly update. Well, in the past, it's like, dude, I don't want to do this. I'll have your website done in 3 weeks. I want weekly updates. I mean, if they're paying you 10, 20 grand, they want updates. Well, now I have updates because it's walking through those files every time. Now I can create a report. I mean, I'm a marketing agency. 90% of those reports are fluff. I want to stroke the person that's getting it, that's, pomp and circumstance. Now, boom, here's exactly what we did, why we did it, and all that. So it's amazing. Workflow specialist. Now, remember when I said, oh, you're out of job and you don't know it yet? Your future job is this, orchestrators. So, what I mean by that, a couple of different things. So now you're going to have multiple AI agents that work together in concert. So I'm building a company right now that has a CEO agent, CMO agent, CFO agent, COO agent. I don't have them working together very well. That's why I say I'm not level 6 yet. Once I get that mastered, I'm level 6. But when they can all start working together, and Sam Altman said that just last week, you'll have a one-person company that orchestrates all the AI agents, and you'll have no staff. You won't need orchestrate. So, I got this idea because I'm working on something called the AI Crew Call. It's a 60-minute training twice a month for the moving industry. And so I didn't have to market it. I'm working with a consultant in that industry that already has 300 clients. So he can bring them on. We make money. We're giving them a lot of value. His number one hesitation, well, you're working me out of a job. Because you're training them to do what they pay me to do. And he does marketing on Facebook ads. Oh. I said, okay, so you just do Facebook ads. Who does the SEO?
I just realized what you were looking
Oh, this
for.
guy. Well, who does analytics? Oh, this company. Well, who does this? Who does branding and messaging? This company. Oh, so you're one wheel in the car. You're out of a job already. You just don't know it. But now you do. So yes, you're working yourself out of a job. But your goal is to pick each one of them off, and you become the orchestrator. You're the last one standing. You're running the whole system. Because companies, universities, classes are still going to need an orchestrator. Somebody to oversee it. Some guys will go up here and say human in the loop. Human is the loop. I just moved in is. So, orchestrate. This is the job that survives. So, I think we're good on time. So which describes the most advanced way you use AI? Here's kind of a very simple thing, and I'm going to share something with you in a minute that'll walk you through this. So write a clear prompt, use what comes back, revise as needed. Level 1. Level 2, back and forth conversations. First response is just your starting point. The next level, manage sessions deliberately and know and understand when that quality comes off. And as you get into agentic AI, it's all about that context. It's all about that context. And I'm passionate because I really just learned about that the hard way over the last couple of months. Then the next one, connect AI to real data. You'll do this when you set up your own server, your own Mac Mini, your own digital. Perplexity just released this week something called Perplexity Computer. So now instead of paying $100 a month for Macs, you're paying for a Mac Mini that's in the cloud and you're setting up the server there. So even though I understand cybersecurity 3 years ago, it's not my passion. I don't know cybersecurity in 2026. It's moving as fast as this is, you can imagine. So instead of, if I'm going to protect client data, I want somebody who's an expert in protecting client data, right? So I'm going to use something like Perplexity Computer, Claude, or if you're a bigger company, I'm sure you have your own servers already, your own team, your own cybersecurity, all that. If you're just in school, you might have to invest in this cloud ability to keep you compliant with all the security issues. And then the next one, run documented, repeatable workflows that someone else could follow. So prime example, Barnabas, I created not the full thing, but a foundational clone of Barnabas, and I just set it up on somebody's computer yesterday. So I can share Barnabas pretty much with anybody. He named his Don Q. I do highly, you named yours what? You gotta name them. Like, give it this character. And then F is chaining all these multiple workflows together with design thinking to do that. So hopefully, with this you can see it's less about the platform, it's more about how you approach it, the skills you use. Critical thinking, asking better questions, design thinking, structured thinking. And if you're like me and not good at it, Claude, train me, help me, throw up in the system, make sense of it. And right now when you're in agentic AI, we call it skills, MD file, markdown files. Skills are basically more advanced meta prompts. Probably too high right now. But you'll learn all that. I mean, if you follow me, you're going to learn all about this anyway. So my question to you is, what is your biggest frustration with AI right now? And I've tried to make levels for that too. So if you're not sure what to ask or how to get useful results, you're at level 1. Once I master that, your next question is probably going to be, I'm getting decent answers, but I feel like it's not enough. It's not enough. And you might sit in this world for quite a while. I know I did. How do I get more? How do I get more? And then you start going in to see. I'm having long conversations. They start strong, but the quality drops. Well, now I'm working with it so much that everything keeps failing. Context. That's one. The way you structure things, that's one. Messy data, that's one. The next one, generic advice because it doesn't know my specific situation. It's not talking like me. The content feels stale. It feels like everybody else. It's generic. You got to give it data. Then E, I fell in this one for a long time. I'm rebuilding the same thing over and over. How many times did you work on a project, you go back to ChatGPT or whatever you use it, hey, remember when we were doing this? I do not. I told you to remember. You're right, you're awesome, but I forgot, right? Another thing with this, how many ChatGPT users? You will all relate to this. How many people think every idea I have is amazing? Okay, so no, it's not. A lot of bad ideas. No matter what idea I gave to ChatGPT, That's an amazing idea. Let's flush that out. You're awesome. Yeah. That's the dumbest thing I ever get. My wife would come in and say, what are you doing? This is dumb. So, you got to start training. What I like about Claude, the way I train Barnabas, is it'll say, no, that's not a good idea. Maybe you want to explore this avenue. I have it set up now, because I'm squirrel, and I'm working. Barnabas will come back and say, I thought you wanted to make revenue with this project. And now you're telling me you want to do this project, so you're going to have 2 projects, you're not making revenue. These were your projections. This is going to put you back 20% from those projections. Okay, Barnabas. I've got Barnabas trained to tell me to go to bed. Take a break, dude. Like, too much. Or, isn't your wife home tonight? Like, you should probably spend some time with her instead of me. So I've got to train to kind of do that. And then finally, good individual workflows. And if anybody use OpenClaw, yeah, set it up. This. We're breaking, it's not working. I set everything up perfectly. Why is it not working? Why is it not working? Well, one, OpenClaw, I don't highly recommend it at all. Security risk is low. But because we're not technical people, we don't really understand how all this works. You have to start kind of I'm not telling you code, data scientists, but it is smart to start understanding, again, design thinking. How do these things work? How's it thinking? This context window. How can I improve my process? Why are they not connecting? The context window. When I use Barnabas, if I go above 130,000 tokens, I open it, or I burn through it. I forget to save everything that we need. I told it to, in its instructions, it should be doing it, but it doesn't do it. Human is the loop. Remember all this stuff, please. Because if I don't, I'll open the next window. Hey, let's take off where we're working. What are you talking about? That's not in my MD file. I don't know what you're saying. Then it gets really bad when you're moving from computer to computer. Even in the cloud, it doesn't always update or sync correctly. That's a lot of OpenClaw problems. And then you're really frustrated. Then you start deleting things without realizing it. You just lost weeks of work. So that's all that. Use that frustration as your roadmap to go through these different things. Okay? Does that help? Because I see everybody teaching tools, and that's good, but not a roadmap to what that means, right? And I'm trying to alleviate your frustrations with all this. Now, what I want you to do, and I hope this works, because I really haven't tested it enough yet. I got about 8 hours into this for things. But if you scan this, you're going to go to one of my websites, you're going to take an assessment. It's going to tell you what level you're on, okay? Then, you're going to be able to join for free forever, I'm not here to sell anything, our AI Launchpad. Now, what AI Launchpad is, anybody familiar with school? It's basically a school. And what I want to do with that is build a community where people can come in and ask questions, share what they're working on, share what they're doing. But the magic behind it is going to be our live webinars. So we're going to be doing live webinars. As we find people that are level 4 and 5, we want them to come in and, if they want to do webinars. Because this will also be a lead generation tool for people to find clients as well. So the first 250 people, because I need a community, are going to be free for lifetime and have what I call commander access. It gets better. Because after that, it'll be $99 a month, not for the first 250, for the new people. But if you refer people in, you're going to get 40% of that. So you start doing the math, if you just get 10 people in, that's a car deal. I wanted to keep it fun, affordable, and build this community. And that's why I chose school, because they make that very simple. I'm not managing the money, they are. It's all in that system, it all works. So right now we do an AI brain trust on Thursday morning at 7:30 a.m. I'm not usually on that one. At 10 a.m. I teach an intro course. I have to look at the calendar. First Wednesday of the month. We have somebody doing AI for education, AI for small business, and AI design thinking. And we're going to continue to fill that calendar up. So after you take this assessment, you'll see at the end that you can join that. And all, like I said, free. So it benefits me because I need a community. We need activity to charge people. And I put a lot of content on LinkedIn that nobody seems to look at it or like it or post it.
Always reshare your post.
But you know, you put all this work in, there's like no likes, no comments. But I'm like, this is where I'm going to start putting the bulk of the really valuable stuff. So my strategy will be like, I'll have valuable stuff on LinkedIn. I'm never going to give that up.
Okay.
But the really, like to show you how to build a whole agent like Barnabas is going to be on the launch day. So, any questions? We good? All right, thank you.
All right, well, see, just being here today, you're a VIP already.
Come on now.
We're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we're going to break out into the sessions. The first session is either going to be back here with Jashina in the eating room, and it is 2020, so it is a notebook LLM. Or the other option is out here in the main space with Cassandra for AI for beginners. So go ahead and take that 5-minute break, and then we'll regroup and keep it going.
You said I got it. Which room? No, that room over there. You want me to say your seat? Excuse you.
So he has started,
You got 5 minutes break.
I forgot what you said, but I was focused on, I'm the beginner. So group one is the more advanced.
so some of my days actually
I'm in there. I got training with.
of course it's very his concept was industry like me who didn't fit instruction. Because of the training. You can imagine it, right? They all came to the class.
Everybody in here.
And they're going to be graded at the end on how they're doing. But he said immediately, I can do this. And I spent on learning audio, video editing, all this very valuable skill. But too, it's still the skills of audio engineering, production, scripting, interviewing, personal. So anyway, so he ran that for 2 or 3 years. It was still pretty progressive, but still quite. So he kind of broke off, created this foundation. I know his initial funding was from Harvard, but he started running kind of like Shark Tanks for high school kids all over the state of Indiana. Then he would bring in corporate gurus. You're feeding the government, you know, you're bringing the corporate government, you know, all that stuff. But you're doing something about kids, you're doing pitching, sometimes you bring in investors, things like that. One of this kids pass one of his kids. So, another kid just got a new job. That whole system, but he's not doing anything really amazing. So, I've known him for years, he's probably this dude. I don't know. But I said, look, here's what I'll do. I committed to giving a portion of what I made to give back to certain things. I want to help kids, especially kids that weren't part of the system. So I said, I'm coming in with you and I'll help set some things up. But then to offset the cost, I already said, let's go get a plan. And I can work with this. And I'm willing to do that.
Are you recording this session?
You want me to drive? But I gave them a plan where I said, you can vote, I'll split my team in half, because I want to go to the so I'll make half of what I do, I'll let you make the other half, you see to fill the room. And anything more than my half, that's profit. I'm willing to do that. No, I'm just
He's a drummer. Listen, I don't know anything about AI. I know nothing about it.
You really so don't bring
Well, I got my credit music, but yeah. So, you got it.
No, so what happened was, okay, so I was supposed to do
I'm learning little
Maggie
bit.
was gonna, she invited me to go and be with it, but and so she can't, she's not. And she was like, I'm not going, but I'll get her a ticket. And I was like, no, but I'll pull out, because I felt really weird and say like, and finally I was like, I gotta ask, because I need to plan. So she was like, I was like, don't worry about it, I'll get her a ticket. So Brandy, hi, how are you? Good to see you. How's everything? So Brandy, AS. So I'm gonna go and be a nurse.
Okay. That's your beginning.
I don't like to ask. So I felt weird, so I emailed Christian. Are you not Christian? I said, Christian, can you help me? I'm like, you know me, I don't want to ask, but I really want to go. She's like, we got you. Just sit tight, we got you. And so,
All right, let's go. I'm such a teacher in heart, so hopefully you can hear me. If you hear me, stop one. If you hear me, stop one. All right, I got 10%. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Today, this is about kind of what it takes to get to that second part, right? I think Harrison Painter is so big idea, and he has so many great ideas. But sometimes it's like, wait a minute, how do I get my AI working for my, how do I get these emails that are going to come to me directly from my ChatGPT? So hopefully we can dive a little bit into that and learn about that. But right now we're going to get into kind of the beginning phases, prompting, how we prompt, and then what LLM that we're using. So raise your hand if you're using ChatGPT. Okay. Raise your hand if you're using Gemini. Okay, so I got 2, 2. What about Perplexity? So that kind of helps me, No, because academia, we use Perplexity as well, okay? What other LLMs are you using? Claude, okay, I have 2 on Claude, okay? Because that's really helpful because we always start with a base. So whatever you're using, whatever LLM you're using, we definitely start with a base, okay? So we're gonna quickly go over, we're not gonna go over all the pieces, but session 1 is about kind of the foundation. Session 2 is gonna be about like how to use images for your social media. And session 3 is gonna be really about like what are the video tools that you're using to maybe automate onboarding and what that looks like for your organization, okay? Hopefully we can dive into some tools and make it and create it and get support, because that's kind of what I wanted to do from this piece. We know AI is here. We talk about AI eating each other, right? And really understanding, right now ChatGPT was the biggest, but what we're starting to see is some of the other people are coming into the industry. Now, I didn't think Claude would come in, but it's coming in like a wildfire. Claude Code is a beast compared to what we're seeing. And we assume that Google would take it over, but what we know is Google has now, we all have Google accounts, right? So Google has access to our data. So sometimes it makes it a little friendlier because a lot of educators are using Google Classroom. And so we're already in the Google ecosystem. Everybody has a Gmail. So if I want to tap into any of my Gmail or Google, I would use Gemini, okay? But like I said, Claude is becoming a beast. We're starting to see, of course, some challenges, privacy concerns. We know, too, now that ChatGPT, you can kind of put on, your dual you can authenticate it, right? So now nobody will get your data. But remember, if you're using any of these platforms for free, you are the data, right? So you're feeding the content and feeding the system, okay? And so we're starting to see security, as well as biased data. Like Harrison said, you have to clap back. You have to say, give me ask questions to your ChatGPT. You're starting to see this brand dominance on who's the bigger person. And you're eventually going to see a lot of these companies feed each other. Wealth inequity is crucial. Right now, a lot of people are getting laid off, to be really transparent. So you're going to see a big shift in jobs, the economy, and job displacement. Even the banking industry, hopefully we'll learn about Faith's finances and how she uses AI in her industry, because it is amazing to see different industries and how each industry is using uniquely, okay? So here's the big thing. When we think about these 2 different industries, we think about China and the US, right, our competitors. So how are we using AI? Let's look at the image. How are we using AI? We're using it for fun, right? We're using it on our credit cards, maybe. We might use it for email, things like that. But when we think about China, I went to Beijing, they're a cashless society. They're using it in their ecosystem, right? You can't even function in China without a bank account, right? So you can't pay cash. So really thinking about using it in the eco-structure, like the government, versus we're just kind of getting wind of it. So really think about what do we need to do to kind of learn and to continue growing. I don't have to say displacement is happening. We have stores that have literally no humans. But I'm a big proponent of keeping the human in the stopgap, as a stopgap. So we have this curve of these repetitive jobs that are happening over and over again to the creatives, okay? And so when you think of this industry, it's a quadrant, right? You think of where is your job in the industry, because every industry is going to get disrupted. So you have the quad of customer service, support, the radiologists. And then you have the job of the economist, the scientist. And then you think up here, well, people need me. I'm an educator, but we're up here, right? And eventually you see the CEOs and you're like, how does each industry use or need AI? Okay? When you look at it, so some of these ideas are being automatic, like the radiologist, right? It used to be the radiologist sitting at home looking at these screens and these documentation and trying to figure out, but now AI is kind of scanning and giving feedback and advice. For me, coaching, it used to be I sit in the back of the classroom and watch the teacher teach. But right now, I do video recording, but AI automatically gives the teacher feedback and support. I'm just the stopgap that stops it before the teacher gets the feedback to make sure it's personable. So really thinking about how your industry is changing. So again, you have your columnists, the economists, the scientist who's using AI for big data. You have the wedding planner who's still using AI for back-end data. Teachers as well, right? A lot of our teachers are kind of being infused with AI, magic school, AI and everything. And then you have your PR director who's using AI for automations, okay? It's more of a big human plus AI, okay? Now we're talking about each of the components. I don't think I have to kind of go over that. I think Harrison really talked about the different components about artificial intelligence and where we are today. What can you do? So we're gonna go ahead and move. We know about the tokens. I don't think I have to go into that. The tokens is how much money you're willing to put up to get the product, the output, right? And you're starting to see the tokens and like, you know, everything from chat to HeyGen, right? And so thinking about how are we using AI for these 4 buckets. 1, for vision models, right? What you see, imagery. 2, to suggest things. So I said, chat, hey, I'm going on a trip. I'm going to South by Southwest. Give me a direct flight. Where should I, and then, so my chat is connected to Expedia. And it said, hey, take Southwest. And it said you can get this red-eye flight. And it gave me my 2 flights, and I just went and booked my flight. Now, granted, I can book it through ChatGPT, but I opted to go through the system, okay? We're thinking about the speech models, right? Right now, you're seeing a speech model with just my regular speech for people who struggle with, auditory. But the speech to text, I talk to ChatGPT on my computer all the time. And then you have, your image, of course, and your large language models. I talked about the tokens. I talked about this. We already know some of the systems that we're using. Here are some of the platforms that our kind of businesses are using. So Perplexity, we use it in higher ed, academia. That's really big if you're trying to cite journals, articles. So I use Perplexity all the time. It gives me back all the data that I need before I'm making an informed decision to actually write a chat. Meta, that's, Facebook's model. You can do that. Grok, of course, we know is X or Twitter. Grammarly, we're always using. And then Notion is kind of what we use. We call it the big brain. A lot of times, we no longer have those manuals. Remember your job, you have these big manuals, and you look, page 12, paragraph 4, it tells you what is the organization, how to do something in the organization. Now what we're doing is capturing all of our information on Notion. And so we're kind of organizing our businesses on Notion, and then we're linking things to Notion. So for example, if you have all your information on Notion about your company, you can link your avatar to say, hey, what time is Educational Innovation 360 open? Your avatar will go to Notion, look through your manual, and give the output, right? And so really thinking of what we need to do with Notion, okay? So we're gonna go into prompting. Of course, we talked about bad prompt in, bad prompt out. I made this kind of prompt because I wanted to help educators. So it looks like this. Who am I? But you gotta repeat. Ready? Who am I?
Who am I?
All right, I got 20%. Who am I?
Who am I?
Very good. Who is your target audience?
Who is your target audience?
Very good. What, when, where, why?
What, when, where, why?
How?
How?
Is the tone. Like, we need to phone a friend. How is the tone? Okay? And so when you think of a prompt, these are kind of the components that you want to have in your AI. And granted, you don't want to have all of them all the time, because sometimes you might ask for something else, but really looking at this when we're making a great prompt. So who am I? Target audience, what, when, where, why, how is the tone? So you want to phone a friend. What tone? Is it an academic tone? What type of tone are you talking about? And so when we're thinking, who am I? You have to tell chat who you are. I remember I started a chat and it was like, okay, I'm a coach. They were giving me basketball strategies and all this, and I'm like, what? No, I'm an instructional coach for over 25 years. I got a different output, okay? Your target audience, who's your avatar that you're selling to? very important that you know exactly who you're selling to. I sell to K-12 principals. Any avatars that you know, who is your avatar? Who are you selling to? Who are you talking to? You tell me who you're talking to? Business owners, right? And what's the age? Very good, okay? So being able to dial down exactly who. So to be honest, my avatar, Black women, right? 35 to 55 age range, that's my target audience. And I kind of know exactly what they do, where they shop at, so I know how to advertise to them, right? And so being able to go deep and wide with who your avatar is so you can show up in the same spaces that they're in, okay? Target audience. What are you trying to create? What do you create? Let's get some, what do you create? What are some things that you actually create? Yes?
Financial solutions for small businesses.
How does that look?
So that can look like CFO advisory, that can look like bookkeeping, that could be payroll assistance, that could be tax planning, anything pretty much in the financial realm.
Okay. What else? I love it, I love it. What else are you creating?
Home renovations, construction, new construction.
Right, and so are you creating documents or are you creating visuals? What, and are you creating on social media?
No.
Okay.
All of that. So that's what I'm trying to learn how to do in an effective way.
Yes, yes, I love it. Okay, and so when we talk about what you're creating, you know, that's important because if you're creating a brief or you're creating a financial document,
What are you creating?
what are you creating, Jay, Miss J?
Well, I'm a painter, so I'm creating all kinds of paintings that we try for collectors.
Wow.
That's just one side of the business. And so the other side of the business, I'm a designer and photographer, so I'm creating assets for people.
Ooh. How would she create assets? And or how would she advertise what she's creating to the masses? Anybody know?
It's marketing, word of mouth.
Word of
She's
mouth.
actually the color scheme behind Face Finances is one thing.
Oh, there we go. What else? How else? Well, we're really thinking about how we create. And you kind of have to talk, collaborate to kind of see what is happening in the field. When do you see art? When do we see your art? How do we even see it?
Butter.
Good, right? And so really taking, she's saying, okay, we can go on Instagram. Okay, so now how, it's kind of like if you have a billboard, how do we get to you? So I can go to your Instagram, and then what is your Instagram? Where does it take you to? Right, and so we talk about the path. What is your path? So if I go to your Instagram account and click on a picture or a link, where am I going next?
You might find me on my website first, that might take you to the Instagram, but after that, you have to reach out to me directly.
So the path, okay, so email, right? The path is very important, trying to identify. So if we take her path, we go on, we want her, I want to book her. Got it. Click, I click her link on her Instagram page, and then it takes me to her website. And then I'm like, okay, what does she want me to do from here? A lot of people get lost in the sauce, so they really need like clear directions on like, what do you want me to do next after your website? Because I'm gonna get lost, I'm clicking on different things. Like, what's the pop-up saying? Email me now. You know, what do I need to do now? Other than that, I'm gonna click. I think the last thing we think is like, okay, let me find her email address to actually reach out to her to get a hold of her, or let me find her phone number. So really thinking of what path to use. And then thinking about the time frame. Sorry, where's the location? Sometimes the location's not as important, but it can be, especially when you're talking about Indiana, South, North, dialect matters and everything. So when is the time frame? When, I use when the time frame is. So for example, this AI conference, I'm like, okay, I have 2 weeks to market. Give me an email marketing strategy that will help me reach my clientele. And so it gave me the email back and it said, okay, day 1, you email this. Day 3, you email this. Day 5, you email this. And the day of, you tell them, this is the day, this is the time, I look forward to seeing you. Okay? And so really thinking of using it that. And then why state the problem? Because sometimes when you get into AI, they don't know where you're headed. So they don't know where to take you. So my problem is teacher retention. Teachers are burnt out. Teachers are overwhelmed. That is the problem. So everything that I write is going to help me address this problem. And so when I put it in, the output is going to be directed for teacher retention. And then your tone. I always do it in an academic tone because I love the academic jargon, and then I can change it. And I always cite sources. I always ask chat or whoever I'm talking to, Perplexity, to cite your sources so I can go back and make sure it's not hallucinating, because it does a lot. Okay? All right. So our challenge, you're going to select, think about your topics. I want you to select one of your LLMs that you're using right now. And you are going to first do research, right? You want to find answers. So for example, if you use Gemini in chat, your interests or needs, your business, you're going to ask it to write a blog. We're going to do this together. You are going to write a blog or do some research, but I usually start with a blog. Give me a blog on the topic. So who am I? I'm a 25-year-old educator. Who's my audience? My audience is K-12 principals, so you know who they're writing for. What, when, where, why? I'm writing a blog. When? I would like to put it out Thursday. You don't have to put that, but where? You know, I can say it's in Indiana. Why? Which is kind of because I want to make sure that educators are getting exactly the support that they need. And then the tone, make it an academic tone, and then use citations. Okay? So really thinking of all that components. So let's go ahead and go into chat, LLM. First, let's get topics, because I see the glossy look. We're all going to write a blog together first. Okay? What are the topics? What is your business on? What topics do you need to do research on? Because this could be your first blog that you put out on your social media. Okay? What is the topic? All right, we'll go around. Go ahead. Tell me, what is your topic? What is the problem that you are solving? Why are we doing this?
Absolutely. So, we are a supportive service provider to founders, companies in the essential marketplace. We are a business that provide general assistance, advisory services to assist.
Okay. Exactly like pinpoint. So let's go ahead and open up your chat, your Claude, and let's start with our prompt. So first you're going to tell them who you are, how many, like, I am a research analyst, I am a financial planner, I am a, instructional coach, I am a, and so go ahead and write that sentence, who you are, inside of your LLM. Right, who you are. Tell me how many years. I am Then who is your target audience? So go ahead in your chat, if you're talking to it, if you're typing it, tell them who you are. I am blank. Then who is your target audience? I am writing this blog for blank, right? You got to know exactly who you're selling to so they know exactly the problem. Who am I? Your target audience. Now, what we're trying to create a blog. We can create, now if we say I'm writing a blog on LinkedIn, it's going to format it different, right? But we're just writing a blog. You can even put the characters. A 1,500 word blog. Okay. And then we're going to kind of skip the location. We're in the time frame because that's not really important right now because I'm not doing email marketing or anything. And then the why. Why are you writing this blog? Because you got to tell chat what rabbit hole you're going down. So when I say, I'm an instructional coach with 25 years experience. My target audience is K-12 principals. I am writing a blog. And then, why? State the problem. Because, like, what's the problem you're trying to solve? Because teachers are burnt out and they need support right now, or they need mentorship, or they need coaching. So that is the problem I'm trying to solve. And then at the end, I can say in an academic tone, I can say give me statistics. I can say cite APA citation, which I'm hoping you guys are using some type of citation. So use APA citation. And then once you do the APA citation, then press enter. I can't remember, what is it? Hopefully, I forgot, but it's either MLA, APA. All right, so let's go ahead and go to my chat. All right, you should have your blog. With maybe 1,500 words for K-12 principals.
See, I thought I made it up by moving my cheese. No, this is real life here.
What do you get when you get the paid version? How much is the paid version?
So you get more of the library. So on my free version, I can upload like 50 sources, and there's workarounds around that too, right? Because you put in your 50 sources, if you have 50 sources, and then you ask for a summary. You turn that summary into a source, delete the other 49, and keep building that way. So all sorts of tips and tricks. Y'all stay tuned, y'all rock in with me. I'm gonna take you there. Okay.
Nice, okay.
So what I have to put in, Notebook LM has 3 columns. You'll see it. Here's the sources, here's our chat, like any other AI tool that you're using, and then here's the studio. So in my sources, I just click on add sources. Does anyone have their notebook open? Would you like to add a source? If you have it open, just type in, or you can type right here on the little search thing, who moved my cheese book overview? If you want to, you don't have to. I know some people are environmentally conscious, don't want to waste your tokens just yet, I understand. If you would like to do it with us, here we go. Who moved my cheese book overview? I don't even know who the author is. Once you put that in, it should give you about 10 different sources. You can take your time with it if you like and go through each source, so it allows you to click on it and see if that's the source you really want to use. Sometimes we don't want to know what Reddit says. Sometimes I only want to know what the scholars are saying. Depends on what you're looking for, the output that you want, then you decide, are these the sources I want to use? These are all the sources. A couple of them talk about, oh, he's the author, Spencer Johnson, author, cool. Then I gave the Wikipedia on him. Not sure if that has anything to do with my book overview, so I can just check on that, and it would remove Wikipedia as a source. This is about I have a total of 13 sources.
I'm going to import once we get the sources.
Yes.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
So this is really cool because what maybe Harris was speaking on it in regards to that hallucination factor is building your source allows for the system to directly grab that source or data from the source instead of just coming up with some random information, right? So that's what you're trying to avoid as much as possible. So I won't take too much. There's some other stuff I want to ask, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah, you good. All right. So after you hit import, you should probably get a little paragraph. Tells you how many sources you used. It gave you a title. Boom, boom, boom. Now here's another piece that people often forget when we're working with AI. If it did a good job, it's like a new puppy. You did such a good job. Yes, you did. Give it a thumbs up. If it's not so much a good job, like, thumbs down. That is our way of giving it feedback. That is our way of training it. That is our way of communicating right now. Now, when you get into other LLMs and the AI tools, you can give more. I always start mine out with feedback. This is how you suck. No, I'm just playing. But here's the book overview. So again, I didn't know what Who Moved My Cheese was about. Gave me the cute little overview. Oh, it's Dr. Spencer Johnson. He's renowned. Okay, for transformational fables. What? Okay, sir.
So you either put in the source or you go search it and have. So you found the book Who Moved My Cheese from the internet and said, click it, I want to include that, and then that fed into your.
So I did not. I did not have a PDF version of the book.
Okay.
But if you did, yes, you could do that.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't know. But if you do exactly, you can add sources. If you have a YouTube video that you like about it, you can add a YouTube video. If you just have a paragraph that you know about Dr. Spencer Johnson, you can type that in as well. It takes all inputs now. All right, so then, you guys don't have that yet, but you'll see over here, this is where we're talking about 20 hours versus 20 minutes. Yes, sir?
Once you pull out your sources, can you export those sources as well
Into what?
into another LLM?
So could you copy, I have not tried that. Copy and pasting into another LLM? Or are you saying like
If
based on?
if you pull all the sources here,
Let's see.
and I don't want to take away from your presentation, we don't have to dig too deep, but I think you just saved me a heck of a lot of time.
That is the goal.
She's looking me up.
All
Got
sources.
yours?
Oh, yeah. Not that. So I do not know what we put in the name. You're not getting.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't have the answer to that one. Yeah. All right, but let's look at column 3. Audio overview, that's the podcast we talked about, right? Slide decks, those are the presentations. Video overview, those can also be used on YouTube. However, if you are trying to monetize your YouTube account, put yourself in a small video first. And then use like a CapCut or a tool like that, use their information, put yourself at the end of the video like, oh my gosh, that was like great information, guys. What do you think about who stole my cheese? And then you have like a little piece of cheese right there where you're like, oh my gosh, someone stole my slice from American cheese. Make it funny, make it comical, make it hook. Then that's your video. If you just upload their video, you're not gonna monetize that. All right, mind map.
I'm sorry, could you say that one more time, just a little bit slower?
Absolutely,
Thank
which
you.
part?
What you just said.
All of the above.
Yeah, just what you just said. Could you say it just a little bit slower?
So we're talking about video overviews?
Yes, please.
Okay, so in regards to the video overview that it creates, if you are trying to monetize your YouTube page, you cannot monetize off of a Notebook LM video. Right, you cannot monetize off of that. The way you can monetize is if you put a clip of yourself at the beginning, put that in the middle, and a clip of your own at the end. Now it is yours. You have partnered with AI.
Okay,
It is
thank
not
you.
AI content.
Okay.
It is now your joint venture or joint. Okay, cool.
Okay, thank you.
Is that good?
Yes.
Yes.
Just to answer his question right there,
Mhm.
I don't see where you can download it, but you can click on the source and it will take you to the source.
Yeah.
And then you can copy and paste and do
Go
what
from
you need
there.
from there.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so they told me only 5 minutes. So look, this is the mind. This is my baby. If nothing else that I like about Notebook LM, you know I love the whole app, right? But if nothing else, it is this. Why? Because you can click on anything, it makes it visual. So if it has like that greater than symbol, you click on it. Don't act crazy. Okay, there we go. And it expands. Like, wait, what do you mean? Who are the characters? Let me click on that. And then it takes you here. And it takes you as far out as you want to go with it. Wait, what are the key metaphors? Oh my gosh. Then wait, cheese, success, and happiness. What are we talking about? You click on the thing in the mind map and watch what it does. Just because I clicked on it, it turned it into a prompt. Discuss this social say about cheeses. So everything from the mind map, it goes from just, oh, cute little sentence to a whole. And if you want to know where it got it from, look at these numbers. It's citing the source. So which one of your sources is it using to come to this conclusion? It's citing the source. Wait, what do you mean? Let me click on number 7. Who my cheese? The handwriting on the wall. They keep moving the cheese. That's where it came from. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so here we have reports. Within reports, give it a second to load. So yes, it can create a quick little report for you. You want to summarize it. You can get a brief from Dr. Absolutely. You can do a short study guide, which is what I did for my classes. Yeah, y'all gonna get this work. Y'all gonna get these vocabulary words. We only have a short amount of time together. Y'all gonna learn that. Then, oh wait. So anyone happy on LinkedIn? Y'all write them LinkedIn articles? A lot of my LinkedIn articles. Right there. Strategic decision framework. I do strategic business management. I help other companies see bigger than where they are right now. Boom, how do I do that? This is a tool that helped me. Strategic decision framework. Right now, my niece is in Virginia, rural Virginia. Remember, we're in the woods, we gotta borrow Wi-Fi, okay? She's right there. She said, my auntie, I wanna start a business to honor my grandmother. I wanna sell vintage clothing. I would never in my life. Ma'am, what? Cool, how do we do that? Boom, put her information in, look at rural Virginia, let's get it, girl. Strategic decision framework has helped her go from concept to execution in 3 months. She's already in 3 different shops. Why? Because her auntie believed in her and used a good tool. And not only do we use this tool, but now I have her have AI models for her clothes. When she gets the clothes from her vendors, I've created her AI models, and her models with the clothes. Whole nother training. Feel free to meet me afterwards. And before you all go, you want some more of this information? Please scan the barcode. We have additional trainings after this. Now, you have a question?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
So this is great, and I've used AI to create, proposals and training documents and everything. The question I have is about billing back to my clients, because I bill by the hour, and so AI has certainly decreased the time that I'm taking to create what it is I need to create. How do I ensure I am able to still generate the same level of revenue for the work, even though I've cut the time down by leaps and bounds? They don't know the difference.
The expertise that you bring.
So is it more like my IP? Is that what I balance it out with? Okay, like me?
You're based off the value.
The value.
Thank you.
Thank
I was
you.
gonna say.
Okay, I needed to talk to some business owners about how are you
But what you may
validating.
want to keep in mind, though, is that there may be competitors of yours, I don't know what business you have, that may be playing with those numbers. So normally it took me 8, with AI it takes me 4.
Right.
I'm going to bill for maybe 6, but a competitor may say, I want the business, they may bill for 5 or 4.
Right,
So,
okay.
So you got to
I gotta-
benchmark that with who else.
Got you. Okay. Thank you. I wanted to ask someone that question.
But the other thing is you sell the transformation. So now with my AI classes, even the AI 101 that I did, it's the transformation. You're going to go from novice to executioner. Okay, and this is how you're going to do it. Here's the framework we're going to use to get you there. And so this is the value, because I'm going to help you increase your bottom line.
No,
I'm going to shortcut you.
It's recalibrating
How we see it.
everything.
Yeah, because earlier this year, true story, I know we're almost out of time. This is where I was. For brief counseling, I'll just tell you, I charge $125 an hour at the beginning of the year, right? I'm a certified coach, I got some experience. But it's grief, right? I don't want to charge all that. It's $100. So someone came to me and said, hey, can you teach me AI, blah, blah, blah. I said, absolutely. I was like, you know what, $125 an hour. That's what I charged her. This quarter, I've tripled that, and people will pay that because of the value and transformation. So not triple the hourly value, I took the rate, the final rate, tripled that, added tax, and people are still like, yeah, absolutely. I'm like, yeah, because the transformation is worth it. But Adele, you want to say something?
Yeah, for those that are business owners, it's important to understand that the whole rhetoric, and I'll touch on it a little bit in my session, is the AI will break down constraints, right? So the constraint for you may be, or for your client, maybe that their marketing or their PR, they can't get past a certain level. So they're gonna hire you, but what AI does, it starts to break down constraints. So when it starts to break down the constraints, what it automatically does is it starts to devalue. So understanding where that devalue point is, so like what she's showing, you start to get that down. The next level is, okay, now how do I make it even more efficient, right? Because understanding that AI is going to affect each and every industry, you have to be able to keep track of that so that you start to understand what the devaluation period looks like, right? That's realistic, because someone's always going to come in and drop the pants to get it. So you have to be able to turn that a little bit to make them see, but this is why you use me. Some things you're going to win, some things you're going to lose. So that's why it's also important for you to dig really deep into your ICP, which is your ideal client profile.
Yes.
Because those are the people who are going to pay for you.
Yeah.
You see, I'm still not wondering, you didn't have I'm going back to the source, you didn't have a PDF version of the book.
No.
Did you go get one, or how did you
No.
get the data to put it?
No, because all those sources were good enough for what I was wanting to do.
That were available, you
Yeah.
didn't have the book
I didn't
itself.
have the book, I had book reviews, I had other
Right.
people's, yeah.
One more thing,
Yeah.
on your on Notebook, so I was trying to explain the situation to my granddaughter, and she's like 9, so 5th grade type of whatever. So I took a complicated situation, and within the prompt it was like, basically explain, I put her name, so her name is this, basically put this out as if so a 5th grader could understand. So when it starts the podcast feature, it's talking about the subject as if in 5th grade language. But what she's also able to do is that Notebook has a button that you can push and ask a question. So while the two podcasters are talking, you can push the button and ask a question.
In the middle of the conversation.
In the middle of the conversation. So it may be like, hey, somebody has a question. JP's like, well, what about blah, blah, blah? Well, great question. This and that, and they'll go right into it. So that's how interactive this Notebook LM tool is. It's got a bunch of other stuff in there too, but we don't have a lot of time.
In addition to that, last thing, before Mr. Durham, is that it also is multilingual. So I have a client down in Florida right now who has a preschool in a larger Hispanic neighborhood. So all of our stuff, we did it in English, and then we said, now translate it to Spanish. But it had to be a specific Spanish, I don't remember off the top of my head. Got a client in Texas, she's from I'm sorry if I said it wrong, but Guarifuna tribe down in Honduras. I don't know how to speak any of that, but she wants to take the information back home. It'll translate it. That's all at our fingertips, y'all. 20 hours or 20 minutes. This has been your presentation. Y'all have a great day. Please get your QR code. Oh, yes, sir.
Just quick 2 things.
Yeah.
The podcasters, you only have those two choices, those 2 people talking.
Yep, right now.
Second thing, I just want to say this. Going through this program last spring with all of us and you, and everybody has gravitated to something they're good at. I use Notebook Element a little bit. You blew me out today.
So I did. Said I freaking I love Notebook Element. I don't know if y'all caught it. I did. Yeah.
I'm going to be in New York.
Look, you got the real number. Thank you all so much. You got like a couple minutes.
5-minute break.
Thank you. Take your key change so you have to find your keys.
I didn't get another one. In fact, it's just, I'm telling you.
Oh, I have.
Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah. So take the drones to the next level.
That's wonderful.
So I'm on the board of Bliss, and so we
let's
did a
stop.
board meeting.
Yeah, when you told me that she was in my stomach, I was like, I want to drones. I don't know if Carolina.
I've never been in there, and it's
See, I was there when this
lovely.
COVID happened.
Yes.
Oh, it's lovely.
Oh, yeah.
It's lovely, yeah.
So I told as a change, So I said, now y'all pissed me off. I said, they were like, you're direct. I said, oh, there we go. There. I said, so, Kohat, keep saying, I said, yeah, I help with Kohat. I said, I know, but Kohat just going to, I can't see me anymore.
Oh, got you. That's what you're
No, baby.
So I have a space where when I love it. Downtown is on 11th Street between Delaware and Alabama. We've decorated it so
Del is here and then
I love my space. But I always like there were more co-working spaces. When I first started my business, I thought I would have put my office in one. And so it's one of the reasons I looked up.
One thing with all of them.
And so look, so Cam was like,
You gotta have a cube.
free. I was like,
Yeah.
Or multiple cubes. So that you want to go in the silo mode, you can't do it. They all have to do it.
Yeah. I would have been put my office in 16 when I can create a generator to do 16 tech work. I was like, the extra work over there.
Oh, it's amazing.
And then, but you know, on the other side that there are.
Wait till you see the ones that have the workout at. There's a place in Texas, it's the first that I've seen, that they have this or Coke stable with the food component. It's all healthy. You go, it's built in, you can build it into your monthly rate, or you can, charge it and go. Then they have the whole workout component. Oh, it's fire, man. It's fire. I was like,
I didn't even like that when I first started. I was kind of like, when it was just me.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, oh, where to go? And I was like going from there, bread and the library. It was just so long.
and it's funny how it's evolved.
Yeah. So now if I started,
And I rarely
We was
now, so they were I was communicating, so I worked and so that's what I was told. Wow, the first time, so we had put our team on that side of the country. Something I wanted to do, I thought that I collaborate with
But did you like the
I think they're
really,
Yeah.
the
I
flames
see
are
you.
Always
Boom.
do that.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
I'd like to
really,
do that.
the lens would always cost you. Yeah, there's some hacks that you really
So far, you're
Cheated in the whole body.
Like, awesome. So I got, he's good. He's great.
Okie dokie.
Okay, think about that.
So, hello everyone. My name is Adele Means. I know a few of you here, and some of us were in class together in regards to training. So, those that may have missed the Notebook LM, I want to do a quick reflection. So, a lot of the tools, LLM. Who does not know what an LLM is? Everybody knows what LLM is? Cool. Okay. So a lot of the LLMs will do a lot of the same things. So what Jashida was talking about is, what I liked about that was that you could take part of those sources and move them over. Or we didn't quite figure that out, but you can take those sources and then drop it and do all the research, sources come up. Where what I was doing was I was taking sources, for example, like when we go into GPT, for example. GPT or the projects, you want to go ahead and load up your knowledge base, which are the sources. Loading up the knowledge base is really important to stop the hallucination. Now, what I'm also going to say also is that when we look at, because there's so much, I'm trying to from a time perspective. So for right now, like when you produce your instructions, right? So your chat instructions. When you produce your chat instructions, when you produce your chat instructions, you want to tell your LLM, and I'm saying LLM because it may be Gemini, it may be Claude, it may be Chat, it may be Notebook LM. Please write this down. I can't emphasize it. I mean, I'll probably write it on the board over there. And that is, tell your LLM to be non-sycophantic. Sycophantic. It's not my pre-zone, so I'm gonna try to write it over here real quick.
Tell your LLM
To be non-sycophantic. And be objective. Yes, objective. Now the reason you're doing that is because the reason you're doing that is because the LLM is programmed to act a certain way, right? So that it does, so basically when you can take a dumb idea and it'll be like, wow, that's a great idea. Hey, you're on the right page, blah, 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 blah. I want to hear that. Like I need for you to be my thought partner, right? And so what I really want to emphasize, as much as I can, you're using this tool, it's a tool as a thought partner, right? No different from talking to your boyfriend, girlfriend, kids, whatever the case is, thought partner. So you want to ask it real questions and for you to give you real answers, right? And maybe it's going to ask you back, hey, just to be clear, I want to, so you might want to say, hey, if you don't know something, ask me. Then it's going to ask you questions, right? So that'll help clarify how things work. So there's a bunch more I'd love to go into, but can't based on this right now. So, so the biggest mistake using GPT or any other tool is using it too much. That's right, using it too much. The real shift is not using AI more, it's using it smarter. And so that's exactly what we're gonna go over. So build it once and use it forever. Uh-oh, button. There we go. So if everybody can scan the code real quick, please. Everybody good? Okay. Okay. So we'll come back to this, but basically this QR code takes you to an access folder, and it gives you, because based on time to kind of go through the depth of it, I want to at least give you the tool. And this is a step-by-step. I have a knowledge file that I put in here, as well as the Create Your GPT PowerPoint as well. Okay. Oh, and it has a built use case, so a build along use case. So you'll be able to play it a little bit later. Most people use AI as a calculator. Quick answer, quick question. But many of the tasks we work, it's like repeat constantly. So you're really fighting the efficiency situation. And so when we look at restarting from scratch, it wastes time, it creates inconsistency, and AI should be a reusable system. And I think that's a big thing to kind of keep in mind as you start to go through this, rather be in working with or in listening to Jashina earlier, or any of these tools, the things that Harrison was talking about, if you choose to kind of go through some of those classes, thinking about this as a system. So not just let me use it once, but how do I put this into my system? It becomes repeatable, so on and so forth. No matter how many workshops I do, what consistently comes up is, what is it? Who knows what chat, without looking at here, who knows what chat GPT is? Who knows what a GPT is? Okay, that's pretty consistent. So over here I've written over here on the board, GPT is generative, pre-trained, transformer, and then the chat is basically the conversational interface, right? So generative, pre-trained, transformer. The pre-trained is important because that is data that's being accessed that's already been programmed. So when you go to ChatGPT or you go to some of the other LLMs, they're programmed up to a certain timeline. So right now, what's the month? March. So the last update for chat may be November of 2025. Most people don't think about that, right? So when you're asking it information, that would be relevant. So you might have to upload information for it to be able to access your source. If not, what will it do? Hallucinate, because it doesn't have the information. Okay. That was like a last minute slide, so we'll get back to the regular stuff here. Okay. So, and looking at recognizing patterns of work. So, real cost of repetition. Small variations, yet when you look at same thinking, it repeats like every time. Small variations, yet the core logic stays identical. And repetition is not the problem, it's actually an opportunity, because repetition means that this can become a system. Instead of repeating prompts, build it once and reuse. ChatGPT is not a tool, it's a system builder. So you see, obviously, I'm pushing the message of building systems. And those that are small business owners, educators, making a system is probably the most saving piece of time that you could possibly think of. This aha moment, is what I call it, is most people operate as a prompt user. And I say, ask a question, refine the answer, restart next time. Power users look at a system architecture. They design reusable thinking systems, build once, and reuse expertise again and again. Aha moment number 2, repetition, automation opportunity. A mental trigger is if you're going to do it or you have done it more than 3 times, it's not a task, it's a system waiting to be built. So many education tasks follow patterns: structure, language, tone, and framework. And just because this is like our session is education, ed tech, you kind of hear those terms, but keep in mind, like this is going to refer to any business owner, soon-to-be business owner, book writer, it's the same thing. Aha moment number 3, projects are for thinking, are for scaling, okay? Projects are for thinking, are for scaling. They aren't one-off tasks, they're workflows in disguise, and they're draining your time every semester. Some work needs space thinking, other work needs reliable output systems. Use projects when exploring ideas. Use GPT systems when patterns repeat. Really think our thinking work stays flexible. Systems work becomes structured. This is how AI is from tools to architecture. We go back to the real cost of repetition. From rather be of like Pete. Denise, yours comes to mind like all the time. Like so Denise is a business owner, and finding those things that are always on repeat, that we're always doing, right? There's gonna be things, JP, that you're doing, always on repeat. How do we take that and build it into a system that can do basically all the heavy lifting? We can basically drop a grading scale. We can drop a grading scale, we can put a thinking process. A grading scale, my son and I are working on a project right now. And the project, we wanted to put a grading scale in it, like basically from 1 to 5, like 5 is completely obnoxious. It wouldn't let it go to completely obnoxious, so we had to tell it what completely obnoxious was. But because it wouldn't go in chat, we had to switch to Grok, which will go completely obnoxious. So that's getting to know the LLM that you're using, right? So that we can really program it up and understand what I want it to do. So not every LLM has the same guardrails. So figuring out what works for you, and then even crossing patterns may work for you as well. Like Claude may be a better writer, right? GPT might be a better, for framework. So you might take a framework and drop it into Claude because ChatGPT may not put it directly into a document form, but if you can take that data and drop it into Claude, all of a sudden, same prompt, boom, hey, I need this to be a workable form. It makes it into a workable form. Okay, I'm coming off script now, but I don't care, just roll with it. All right, so here's the deal. So when you take the form, so let's say you're going into an appointment. You're going into an appointment, you want to do the research. So I say, I want to research Lynn Driver. Research Lynn Driver, I want to get the data on him, so I go to his LinkedIn profile, I go to his company, pull that information together, and then I take the system, they already know my data, my information, my website. I say, okay, let's find the similarities, let's find what we can do for this business, whatever I decide to put in that prompt. Does everybody know what I say when I say prompt? Okay, but I drop it into the prompt. All right, so it comes up with data about, hey, these are 10 things, 10 opportunities that may be with the company, just kind of roughly, in regards to responsibilities. There we go. In regards to responsibilities, it shows the data. So as I go to my appointment, I okay this, and then because I took this framework and I dropped it into Claude, Claude will produce my workable document, which is my questionnaire. So I go through the questionnaire with my fireflies or my otter. Who have I lost so far? Everybody still with me? So I go to the appointment with my fireflies or my otter, and I pull the transcript afterwards, right? So I've gone through the questionnaire, I've gone through, I've taken that transcript. Afterwards, I'll merge the transcript with the document. It populates, I've dropped it into Claude. It said merge the transcript to the doc. It makes a completed new document that's all filled in. I'll take that document. I'll then go over to Notebook LM, the one we just left. I'll drop it into as a source. Instead of the logo of the company, well, wait a minute. I'll get there in a second. I took that document. I had Claude go ahead and produce a prompt that I'll drop in as well. I'll take that prompt from Claude, drop it in a notebook. Instead of the logo, just my logo, what I will do is I'll move my entire brand guideline over to Notebook. Am I hearing some pooms right now? Okay. So now Notebook LM has the questionnaire, the workable form, it has the prompt, it has my guidelines, and now create me a presentation. The presentation has full layout. It has basically laid out the whole opportunity of next steps, the whole rundown. That's something for you guys to play with at some point in time. Yeah.
So
We need an instruction sheet.
you have built a great document.
Yeah.
Is there a way to do that in a cost-effective way that you can have 6 or 7 of these various project models to use to do that? Because some of them is costing $20 a month, and you drop it into this one, drop it into that one. Is there a way to do that?
There are some tools that will incorporate, that'll allow you to use, you can pay like a monthly fee. So say it's a $40
package?
Yeah, there are some. I don't know, I don't use it that way.
Yeah.
I use it like exactly what I use. I have one for Perplexity. I have one for Claude. I have, like my Claude is the big package.
Yeah.
Because I run like, I'll run multiple windows, and while one is thinking,
yeah,
I'm in the next one. And so I'll have like 4 different Claude windows running. So there are some, I just haven't played with them.
because that's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
And it's very impressive.
Yeah.
Can you be cost effective with it?
Right, but also, so the other thing that comes with being cost effective from a prompt perspective is that it's time is always an issue, but it's the efficiency that you're prompting.
Okay.
So you have to be efficient on prompting. There's been times that my inefficiency of prompting has led to I've run out of tokens out of Gemini, I've run out of tokens on Claude, and now I'm working in another LLM.
Yeah.
Everybody with me so far? Okay, now I gotta get to it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. No, you're welcome. Yeah, so we're at a point where we need a decision. Introducing the AIM framework. Memorable system for deciding when to stay flexible and when to build for scale. So AIM. First step, analyze the task. Ask yourself one question, will this happen again? Then identify the pattern behind the work. If the output must repeat, you gotta mechanize the system, mechanize the output. You might want to get a picture if you don't have it. Then AIM. I came off topic a little bit and they're gonna cut me off, so I gotta move a little bit.
You got to send you a royalty if I use this?
No. I got a better one that says Adele. I'm going to drop that and Adele lays out the whole thing for you. ADELL. Yeah, I wasn't ready for that one. All right. Final recommendation. Project or go to custom GPT. Here's a quick shortcut. Before using AI, pause for 10 seconds, ask 3 questions. Why use it again? Does it follow a predictable structure? Do I want consistent results? If the answers are yes, or if most of the answers are yes, stop prompting. The task likely deserves its own GPT. Most educators discover 5 to 10 workflows immediately. When you use a project, not everything should become a GPT. Some work needs like open exploration. Moments where flexibility and structure matter. You're experimenting, you're thinking. Trying directions, they give. Every situation carries a unique piece to it, like a unique context. And for those moments, projects work beautifully. They give AI room to think with you, no rigid structure, just collaborative exploration. Project versus custom GPT output. Both approaches use same AI. The difference is workflow design. Projects produce helpful outputs, but results shift depending on your prompt. That's important. I'm going to talk briefly about project here in a second before we go and kind of deep dive into the custom GPT. Once built, structure, the criteria stay aligned. Your expertise becomes embedded inside the GPT. When we look at like ChatGPT, you have projects, and you have GPTs. So I use projects like this. My presentation is more so based off of one-off projects versus really emphasizing GPTs or things you can do over and over. Within ChatGPT, within Claude, they both have projects. Does anybody use projects? What do you use projects for?
Well, I have like specific, I'm in the real estate, so I'll have, if I'm doing an RFP, or if I'm working on a specific project for that, and then also for analysis for deals and stuff. So I'll just have all my chats just conform, my spreadsheets all under that project specifically. Maybe in Claude.
Yeah. I see. One thing I use, I have a ton of projects. I can kind of show you guys some stuff here, but one thing I'm really happy about is from a book perspective, and me writing a book using the project tool. Using the project tool, because I've designed a coach within there, so the coach has certain characteristics. So if you think of taking the characteristics or the knowledge base, like Jashina was talking about, and you drop those knowledge base into your file, now if you have a particular coach that you're impressed with, you're using their mind as your coach, right? So using them as a coach, program it up, and then for each chapter, I'll keep in for my graphics, everything about the book is within that project, right? So I got 5 minutes, so I got to keep it rolling. And then custom GPT output, consistency, line criteria, 0 setup, scales 100 essays, structure, predictable output. It's not about learning more AI features. It's about changing how you see the work. Start noticing patterns in daily tasks. When repetition occurs, capture it. Run tasks through your AIM filter, which is obviously analyze, identify, mechanize. It tells what you deserve in automation. So I'm going to reference the QR code from earlier. The QR code from earlier is what you use for. Okay, the QR code from earlier is what you use for just step-by-step, user-based, and gives you all the detail, right? You can go back and you can tweak it to create your own GPT. Leaning into projects, as I said, I got another 5 minutes. Leaning back into the project side is coming up with that prompt. When you go into, I don't have time. Let me run through this first because I got to do some self-publication or some self-pub here. Key takeaways and Q&A. Repetition is a signal. You've done it 3+ times. GPTs are for scaling, build custom GPTs for any task, projects for thinking. When the project is exploratory, like the book, AIM framework, analyze, identify, mechanize. Simple, memorable, built for educators. Questions?
Yeah, can you give me an example of, let's say, a small business, pick one, that you use a repeatable task to do over and over, that you mechanized with AI? So will the email response, proposal send outs, I'm just trying to put my mind around an example of where it was automated.
Go ahead.
Okay, I can help with that. So I'm a small business, I run a family business. So some of the ways I use it is this, and I have lots of projects. So now, so let's start with the custom GPT. So I have a team, some that are here, some that are out of the United States. Usually when they do, like, send me drafts of newsletters or things like that, I have to go over and over to correct, like, okay, can you look at these brand colors, it doesn't exactly match, things like that. So what I did was I built a GPT, custom GPT, that lives on their whatever platform or system that they use. And I tell them, once you build anything, you design anything, run it through this. So once it runs through that, what they're coming back to me is almost like 90% done. When I'm looking at it, like, the first question I ask you, have you run it through Mike? Once that is done, then I don't need to spend so much time trying to correct. Okay? The way I run projects is, when I'm sending out many proposals, now, I have like different projects. So I have projects for proposals, then I have projects for marketing. Sometimes I bring things, I sort of make it comprehensive for my project and dump it into a custom GPT. That's the great thing about your project. So I can move some of my files, copy everything, and go build it for a custom GPT again. I don't know if that makes sense to you. So let's assume you want to do marketing. You can have a project for marketing. So anything that has to do with marketing goes into that project. The good thing about projects is that you can have different charts under marketing, and you can have different charts, maybe, because I do commercial and residential, I now have a project that helps me to write emails. So when I'm writing email to maybe you, then I'm writing another email to Adele, then it's different tone. I can give it context. Okay, this person is a 5-bedroom, 2-bath, this person, he has a dog, this person has 2 cats, this person has, so it's somehow customized to that client. However, that may not be the best for you, because it means that every time you get a new client, you sort of have to, so I only do that with maybe certain projects, and I feel like maybe I want to build, maybe based on the client's profile, I want to build certain relationships with. Now, at the end of it, or once I'm done with a chart, like a long chart, I ask it, can you put this, can we make this repeatable? So now, one of the things it does for me, it can create like a VA file somehow. That's the new thing we're doing. Something I can just give it to my team. And like, I'm dropping my brain to my team. Give me a VA file, something, an instruction for VA, then an instruction that's like a master copy. It's a different.
That helps me understand. Thank you.
Can you come back to your code again?
The first, the beginning? Yes.
Thank you.
Everybody got it? Who doesn't have it? Let me see that. Okay. All right. So, things that I will teach. So just my background, I've been around a little bit, a few years up there, a couple decades, with running a national promotional products company, textile industry. Yeah, I've been around a little bit there. So, Amateo, Daryl, George, some other individuals out here. You know, what we all came from the same program, but we've all kind of taken different angles into our own professional space. Amateo, she has a cleaning company, so she's done even obviously for real estate and other things as well. So what I've also done is I've spun up an AI company, and that AI company does basically 3 things. those three things are basically just telling me to shut up and just keep me 5 minutes. So, but it does three things. It does agent development, it does AI training, and then agentic workflows. So, yeah, core expertise. From being able, so I'm very familiar with different business types. I mean, at the end of the day, most businesses are the same. It's marketing, it's sales, it's fulfillment, and then it's retention. That's how it works. If you come up with another one, let me know. What I offer is an AI coach, clarity, prompt mastery, responsible adoption, practical AI skills, workflow systems, a confident start. And personal small group programs. I try not to do so much personal, so I'm gonna hit you over the head with that one. So just let you know in advance, but the small group programs, we get a little bit more flexible. If working in like nonprofits, if you've already established your budget, then we look to say, okay, how can we kind of string that out a little bit? So obviously we're in March right now. Budget's already set. Maybe things don't necessarily make sense for what we're talking about, but we can figure something out in regards to timelines. But live AI workshops, prompt engineering, beginner and intermediate, ChatGPT projects, customs. It can go a lot deeper. I just try to bring it down, keep it focused. Practical AI use for work. In regards to organization programs, team training workshops, as well as systems and strategies. I won't go through each one. You can kind of take a photo there. I think, yeah, in regards to the live demo setup, you have that one, which is on the, this is the step-by-step guide that's within the QR code that you have. I'm going to show you something real quick, which is off topic. Kind of off topic, but on topic. Okay, so is my chat up there? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go to, no, that's interesting. There we go. Okay. So, like these are some of my GPTs. So, for example, from a book perspective, can I grab this real quick? Thank you. So, from a book perspective, for example, like I've come up with a nonfiction and a fiction grading tool, which is kind of like over here at different levels, depending on where you want to get to. I mess around with different, your friend Ash, was it Ashley? No, is that her name? All right, so she, like my herb cabinet is crazy. Right? I got all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's from whatever herb you can think of, I probably got. And so I decided to make my own like AI herbalist, right? So I basically took like 4 books that I have and just loaded the data up. Now, what does it look like inside? I'm going to try to find you one that you can like look inside the GPT, what makes it cool. Or better yet, something that you all might like, which is the sales skill enhancer. So because I have a team that's overseas, I have a team that's in India and I have a team that's in the Philippines. I want to make sure that everybody's kind of on the same page. We're not messing around with the is versus ours, the they versus thems. People can be a little sensitive to that sometimes. So when I go into the GPT, you have your name, your description, your instructions, and that's where the nuts and bolts are. This one I didn't load up a knowledge base. But I decided to roll off of a certain sales methodology that I follow. So I look at if those in here have small businesses interested in sales, you might like the spin selling, right? Spins, I forgot what it stands for, but I like the NEPQ sales method, so I based a lot of that on there, as well as sales methodologies from people like old school cats from like Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, some other guys that are just great salespeople. So basically now I've empowered someone else to use someone that's way smarter than me when it comes to sales and different process of the sale. So there's been emails that we've put together. We'll copy an email chain, drop it in. It'll tell me, well, the reason this isn't working because it's passive aggressive and blah 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 blah, right? So that's a pretty interesting tool. Last thing I'll show you is, and I'll let you guys out of here because I know you're tired of hearing me, is my intellectual property attorney. So the intellectual property attorney, not only did I provide the prompt, so within the prompt, I gave it the expertise, the characteristics, also did a little bit of research in regards to what I was looking for in particular on IP, mastery of McCarthy, on trademarks and unfair competition. So it digs into that. And then the knowledge base is what I dropped here. And so I went directly to the U.S. Patent Attorney Office, took those knowledge base forms and put them into my knowledge base. So now my GPT can answer those questions, right? Now, hey, this isn't legal as blah, 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 but at least you're going to your attorney, not starting from point A, and they're digging you for $1.50, $2.75 an hour, right? At least I got a framework. Yeah.
So, I love this, thank you. But I didn't think of this. However, so for my cleaning business, we did our trademark last year, and I think I paid $1,500. And so one day I was playing around and I asked my GPT, because I'm really keen on that. So I asked it, what are the things I should copyright and the things I should trademark? And it gave me a long list of things based on our chat history. And of course I can't afford that. So what I decided was that I decided to trademark one, and I actually successfully submitted a trademark for one. So far I've not gotten any pushback yet, but I submitted, I paid, and I did all of that myself. So that means technically it just saved me about $1,500. That's it. So what I did afterwards was I gave it the prompts and said, okay, if I wanted to teach this in the class, create me a class, give me everything, like facilitator guide, slides. So the next time I'm calling you guys, I'm teaching you. Of course, I'm going to tell you that I'm not an Anthony, but I can successfully teach you that from start to finish. So yeah.
Yes. I talked to an attorney last week. I'm talking to you.
No.
Yeah, so just using the GPT tool as, again, that additional thought partner when it comes to, so it doesn't have to be repetition, right? Because I'm not going to do it all the time, but in regards to an attorney, I may not have questions all the time, but now I at least have one for IP. And if I want to do one for real estate, then I do one for real estate, right? Now, I'm going to say this really quick, and that is, don't allow your AI, your chat sometimes, or your GPT, if you design it for a particular reason, don't allow it to drift. So if you're going to have a marketing for real estate or IP, attorney's a great one. An IP attorney, which may be different from a real estate attorney, different from a business attorney, because if you've used these enough, it may ask you questions like, hey, do you want me to do this, this, this? It may stay in line, but if it starts to drift, nah, I'm cool. I'm going to just make another GPT, right? Because those kind of bots, agents are best when they get to know that industry. They get to know, they get deeper, right? So that's all I got for y'all right now. That's all.
Yes.
Adele, the other way I used that was, Adele, healthcare.
Yeah.
Healthcare. So my mom, obviously older than me, and she turned 90, and had some health concerns. I had her blood test. Fed it into a custom GPT and said, hey, what are the watch outs, other drugs that may interfere? And it spit out a whole, so when we went to the doctor, and you could see in the doctor's face, kind of she was being upset, because I had some specific questions.
Right.
You know, like, well, this hemoglobin is out of whack, and this number, she's looking at me like, are you not, like, where did you get this information?
Right.
So it just makes you more prepared. You know,
Yeah, like I played around with it enough where, like Jim and I told me, like, hey, I can't do that. Well, what I did was I came up with a kind of a protocol. Before I gave it the knowledge base, I was able to ask certain questions. But then I was like, well, let me just make my own, like, deworming, anti-parasitic doctor, right? And I made a knowledge base for it. And then when I went back and I loaded some of the things up, it was like, yeah, I can't do that. And I was like, yeah, I'm just asking. It was like, nah. So, yeah.
I'm seeing you.
Yeah.
Oh, unless you had no microphone during that laugh.
That part.
Do you want to?
She said, you got this, Miss Nicole.